G'day everyone, my name is Byzantine. I'm an Australian history enthusiast, and my little mission, I suppose, is to talk about history and bring history to life, and tell really cool stories, and like I might give a review on a book or an audio book or a movie or something I just think is cool. So any of you who are interested or aren't interested, this is why you should be. So. Without further ado, today I really want to talk to you about a book written by a podcaster. So podcasting has become more and more popular in today's age, I suppose, and this one is one of the best that I've found. His name is Mike Duncan from the famous History of Rome series, and his current one is Revolutions. Some really good stuff coming out of this guy, and this is his book, The Storm Before the Storm, the beginning of the end of the Roman Republic. Now, just pause there for a minute, mention the name Roman to me and I start frothing at the mouth, so you can understand why I think this is a cool book. But more importantly than that, this book, it brings out a sense of today. When you think of the Romans, you think of, back in the olden days where, we don't need to worry about anymore. But to me, history is about learning from, previous mistakes or just events. And Duncan really does a really, really good job of bringing to the present stories of the past. So, Storm Before the Storm, everybody. Get around it. So what I mean by when he says how the Roman Republic affects today, he kind of reflects on the American state. So he asks the question, if America is Rome, all right, where is America in Rome's timeline? So the Roman Empire obviously went for a very long time and had a lot of different political and social changes. And he places today's America in pre-Empire Rome, so while the Republic was still going, hence the beginning of the end of the Republic. So everyone knows the stories of Julius Caesar, Mark Antony, and Cleopatra. But what a lot of people don't know, and I didn't know very well, is the stories before that of Sulla and Marius, and the famed populist movement of the Gracchi brothers, and how Rome sort of got to the stage of shit hitting the fan, basically, with Julius Caesar and Pompey having their good old fisticuffs. So the problems all sort of stem. So this is the message that America should sit up and pay attention to. Is when Rome conquered the Mediterranean in the 100s, early AD, BC rather, 100. The state before this time was mainly agrarian. So you've got small scale farming and communal economics, basically. But then the legions march off and, conquer part of Spain or part of Asia Minor or Carthage. And every time the consul comes back with wagons and wagons and wagons of silver and gold, and it just blows the economics out of the window, like completely gone. So all of a sudden, the consuls and the leaders who go on this expeditions, they just flood the Roman economy with so much wealth that no one else can sort of keep up. So you've got this massive wealth distribution being, unequally distributed between the public. So you're getting resentment and just pure, social unrest, and you're losing all those traditional sort of methods of society. And basically the people in the in the Republic are getting restless. They want a bit more of the pie, and all the wealth is in these elites, small family groups with mountains and mountains of cash. And they go around and buy up all the good land, and the legionaries are supposed to be given, state blocks, and it's just not enough to survive on, so they end up ultimately selling them. So the Gracchi brothers go through and they try and put in these reforms to try and save the Republic before it all goes down the well. And it's not a great story for those two blokes. Like, they try and use the popular power to excel their own careers in government, but ultimately get a sticky end because the nobles just don't want to give anything up. And so I suppose you can relate that to how the elites in the USA today have all this power, all this wealth, and you look at the minimum wage in America, and it's terrible compared to other first world countries. It is not a good wage, and yet they're some of the richest people on earth in the US. And so he does a really good job of tying in, take that wealth distribution, for example, to then and to now. So, but then the story, it gets better because he tells the story of an epic adventure of these generals end up fighting each other, as in Sulla and Marius, and they just it's just a great story in itself. But all the while there are these really subtle undertones of what this could mean to the USA and the world as a great analogy of So without sort of getting too gushy at the face when I talk about this sort of stuff, but it is just a really, really nice way of showing the world of, hang on, this has happened before, how can we solve the problems that weren't solved previously? And one of my favourite things about this book was how he writes, how Duncan writes, and because he's had so much experience writing his own podcast for himself to read, he'll write in a way that's really flowy, and you can just read it like you're saying it, I suppose. And I found that really, really enjoyable. So by all means, guys, if you like this book, or like the sound of this book, and you want to explore how today we can use a bit of that information to help ourselves, get a hold of it. I'll put a link in the description for you to go and find it, and I'll link in his Mike Duncan's podcasts as well. If you want to check them out, I really recommend them. He's a really nice voice to listen to. So without further ado, guys, try this book out. I highly recommend it. Cheers. Thanks. If you like the video, give us those thumbs up. Be nice. Appreciate it.